Good morning, my name is Lila Stubbe, and today I will be presenting on my topic of digital citizenship skills. My research question is, how do the classes educating students on digital citizenship skills in middle school and early high school impact Western Connecticut high school seniors' knowledge on digital citizenship? So my goal that I wanted to achieve while conducting this research project was to test the effectiveness of pre-existing digital citizenship classes and then be able to provide information and make any changes needed to the schools. And lastly, to spread awareness on the importance of digital citizenship skills so that I can help eliminate cyberbullying and cybersecurity issues. Just to give you some background information, these 9 elements of digital citizenship are created by Mike Ribble, and they are elements that describe how to be a digital citizen, which are helpful to teachers and students. And these 9 elements are digital access, digital commerce, digital communication and collaboration, digital etiquette, digital health and welfare, digital law, digital fluency, digital rights and responsibility, digital security, and privacy. And I use these 9 elements throughout my research project to help me test the effectiveness of the students' knowledge on digital citizenship. So the importance of digital citizenship skills classes. Mike Ribble, who made those 9 elements, worked alongside Marty Park, and they believe that students need to understand the extensive details of these digital citizenship skills so that they know how to be a digital citizen in today's technological world. Also, as of 2020, there is 63% of the entire population uses the internet, which is more than half and a 13% increase since 2018. And lastly, April Dawkins, an assistant professor of information library studies, she believes that students need to know the direct implications that digital citizenship skills have on their future, like for opportunities like job hirings and college acceptances. So now onto the gap that I had to address through my research. I looked at Connecticut's digital citizenship education, and I found that there were no studies done on Western Connecticut high schools and their digital citizenship curriculum. So for my methodology of how I created my survey method, I started out with a survey because I knew that it would be a great way to outreach to many people at once, and it would also allow me to do a quiz section, which would allow me to accomplish my first goal of testing the effectiveness. And then I chose Western Connecticut high schools to fill my gap, and I had 2 high schools within Western Connecticut, and I looked at their high school seniors to ensure that they had some type of exposure to digital citizenship skills at some point in their school. So on my survey, I had 2 sections. The first section was the experience section, which was a consent and assent section. I also had asked them to recall their experience with digital citizenship skills, looking back all the way back to 5th grade and all the skills they had learned. And then I also asked their personal opinion on how they thought digital citizenship skills have helped them. And then there's also the quiz section, which was multiple choice questions, checkbox, true or false, yes or no, and free response to give a broad arrangement of different types of questions. And I created a rubric to help grade the responses, and I used the 9 elements to help me create these questions to quiz the students. So here are 2 examples of the experience section. On the left is a picture of the consent section, just asking for their consent before continuing on to the survey. And on the right is a history question, asking them what grades they learned what skills in, just to give me some background knowledge of what they should be knowing. So here are 3 examples of my quiz questions. On the top left is a multiple choice question. There's only 1 correct answer. On the bottom right, there is a checkbox question. There's 3 correct answers, and I will explain how they are graded when I talk about my rubric later on. And then this last one is question 6 and 7. They kind of go together because question 6 is a yes or no question, only 1 correct answer. But then question 7, I ask for an explanation so that they can back up why they chose yes or no, so that I know if they truly understand the element of security and privacy. So onto the rubric that I created to help me analyze the quiz answers. This is a picture of question 1 through 5 on my rubric. As you can see, questions 1 to 4 are all multiple choice, so you can only receive 1 correct answer. You can only receive 1 point if you get the correct answer. Question 3 and 1, you can see I have some words listed in quotes, and that is that is saying that if those students used words like that or those exact words, they will receive all the points. And question 5 is the checkbox answer I was talking about before. So if they selected all 3 correct answers, they will get all 3 points. But for every incorrect answer selected, it is -1. For questions 6, 7, 8, and 9, it is on the email security like I had shown before. And if they chose the correct answer and had a strong explanation, then they get 2 points. If they chose the incorrect answer and they had a strong explanation, they will also get 1 point. If they chose the correct answer and they had a weak explanation, they will get 1 point. But if they chose the incorrect answer and had a weak explanation, they will get no points. And then these are the rest of the multiple choice questions. And the total is 17 points. So how I analyzed the scores after grading each survey response. So for 0 out of 17 to 8 out of 17, it showed me that they had a lack of understanding of these skills and they had a lot of improvement to do. For 9 out of 17 to 12 out of 17, it shows that they have a pretty good understanding, but there's still room for growth. And then for 13 out of 17 to 17 out of 17, it shows that they are strong and proficient in digital citizenship skills. So on to my survey results as a whole. I received 29 total responses, 22 of which were proficient in digital citizenship skills, and the 5 of which were in between, showing that they had room for growth, and 2 of which got an 8 out of 17 or below. And so overall, that means 75% of the students are proficient in digital citizenship skills. So how I analyzed these results. I looked at the ratings that they gave in the first section of the survey and compared it to the score they received to see if there was any connection. I also looked for any common themes. I found one between confusion with the email security questions. And then I had to look at the location of learning because in order to answer my question, it had to be learned in school. So to describe the ratings and scores analyzation. So this is the question that they were asked. It's on a scale of 1 to 5, and I'm just asking them to rate their experience and if they believe that these skills have helped them. So I compared it to the score they received to see if there was any connection. A few responses gave no rate, and they are just scores ranging across the board. One response gave a rate of 1, and it is 11 out of 17, which is in the middle category of a good understanding of digital citizenship skills. For a rate of 2, there's a 13 out of 17 and a 15 out of 17. The 13 is in the middle, and the 15 is proficient. Although that they believe these skills were not helpful, they still scored very high. And then for a rate of 3, there's a 14 out of 17 and 15 out of 17. So their belief of the helpfulness is in the middle, but their scores are in the high section. For a rate of 4, 14 out of 17 through 17 out of 17, all proficient in digital citizenship skills, and they also all believe that the skills were helpful. And then for a rate of 5, there was 2 people who got an 11 out of 17, which is the middle section. So they believed it helped them, however, it wasn't very helpful because they still have room for improvement. And then the 14 out of 17 and 15 out of 17 were both proficient. So on to the common theme that I found. I found a common theme between the email security questions, which were questions 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 17 respondents had checked off that they learned email security in any grade between 5th grade and 12th grade. However, all 17 of those respondents still got a point off on these questions, and that's just showing that they kind of have a lack of understanding of the element of digital security and privacy, which was one of the main elements I was testing them on. And then lastly, the location that they learned these skills in. So only three responses selected that they had learned these skills only in school. Those responses were an 8 out of 17, a 10 out of 17, and a 15 out of 17, which is one from each category. So showing that although they were learned just in school, each student received a different score from each category. And then the other 23 responses who selected school had selected that they had also learned it in another area, showing that I can't use those responses to directly answer my question because they could have gained their knowledge from an outside area rather than just school. And those scores were between an 8 out of 17 and a 17 out of 17, which is again across the board. So overall, my conclusions, I found that there is no correlation between the ratings, which means like their experience and their belief of digital citizenship skills, and the score that they received. I also found that there is no correlation between the quiz score and the time period that the skills were learned. So whether they learned them for many years or just 1 year, I found that it had no effect. And then I also found that there was no correlation between the quiz score and the amount of skills or types of skills learned. So whether they just learned one skill or multiple skills, there was still no impact on the quiz score. So some limitations and flaws that could have led me to this. I had a lack of responses, which overall led to a lack of representation. I was only able to receive responses from 2 schools, so I'm not able to make a broad statement as to whether these digital citizenship classes of those schools were helpful or not. I also asked them to recall all the way back to 5th grade, so this could be a limitation because many people may have forgotten the skills that they learned in 5th grade. And then also I had some survey flaws, which could be a limitation, and those flaws were communication confusion. So I had on the rating question, I said if learned in school. However, many people who didn't learn in school still answered that question, leading to varying responses. So the steps that I took to get to my conclusion, I started off researching broad topics about cybersecurity, and then I had to narrow it down to a more specific area, which I chose digital citizenship skills. And then I had to find and address a gap, which I found in Western Connecticut high schools. And then lastly, I had to use that research that I found to help me begin writing and send out my survey, which I initially then started conducting my research. And then after receiving all my research results, I got to conclude and analyze all the results. So for future research, for myself, I have learned the importance of specifying. I learned that I need to specify so that the students or the respondents of the survey can understand what I'm trying to ask them, and they will know how to answer it correctly. And it just makes it easier for the respondents and the surveyor. And then also I learned, also for others, I want to recommend that they analyze the curriculum. I think this would be a great way to see the connection between what the students are learning and what they are actually understanding, and this will provide a good insight to the school and the students. And then I also want future researchers to explore the why, so why students are not understanding this information and where the disparity is between the classes and the students' knowledge. Thank you.
All right, Lila, how did the choices you made when designing or implementing your research method impact your research process?
So initially I was pretty narrow-minded and I decided to just go with the survey. I think this impacted me overall because I was not able to outreach to many people at once as I wanted to, which I thought was going to happen with a survey. So I think with using a survey, I kind of limited my what I could see from the knowledge of digital citizenship skills.
Thank you.
What are the real-world implications or consequences related to your findings?
So I talked about a little bit in the beginning. I learned the importance of digital citizenship skills and the impact they can have on cyberbullying and cybersecurity. So I think that through these survey results, I learned that the students may not have a strong understanding of digital citizenship skills, which is not very good because then they are more likely to be exposed to cybersecurity issues and cyberbullying. So I learned that the importance of digital citizenship skills are really impactful upon students' knowledge on how to be a digital citizen.
What was the most important research skill that you developed as a result of this process, and how might you apply it to your future endeavors?
I think I learned patience and how to just go with the flow and make sure that I'm getting each thing. In the beginning, I was kind of looking for the answers rather than letting the answers come through the survey. So I think I learned that I should just wait for the answers to come and then analyze what I get. And I would use that for all future surveys that I do.
Thank you.